healthy. For example, I couldn't put in the basket products that were plenty of additives or products that were not organic or with too much sugar or with too much salt, for example. So I was really educated to consume healthy products. Of course, there was no Nutella, there was no Coca-Cola in the shelves at home. When I had friends coming at home, the only thing I was able to give them was dried fruits or nuts and stuff like that. But I didn't suffer from it. It was totally fine. And one funny anecdote is also that I was used to have a spoon of fish oil. Today we used to have caps, but when I was young, there were not a lot of caps already on the market, so I had this spoon of fish oil every morning. I can guarantee that I'm lucky today to still have friends, because 2 hours after this spoon of fish oil, I wasn't smelling super well, so I'm still lucky today because I've maintained my friendship. So when I was 12, I told my father, "Daddy, why there are no supermarkets where we can just close our eyes on what we buy? Why do we have to make the selection? Why do we have to check every product stickers?" And my father was like, "It doesn't exist. You have supermarkets where you can find healthy products, but where you can also find a lot of products that are not healthy for you." And I was like, "Okay, Daddy, I'm gonna make you a promise. One day I'll open a store where people won't have to make the selection, where people won't have to have this father who is a nutritionist and who has to explain you how to consume healthy or not." And when I was 18, I decided to go for a business school with this idea in mind, to become one day an entrepreneur and to be able one day to launch my own supermarket where people could easily find healthy products. So I started, of course, to be very present at courses or lessons related to entrepreneurship, a bit less to those who were not, of course, like chemistry or physics. And during my last year of studies in Master 2, I had to write a thesis, and I decided to write the business plan of Casidomi, my healthy supermarket. And it was funny because at the time I had 2 directors for my thesis. One of them was super into entrepreneurship. He was supportive of entrepreneurs, while the other, he was like, "Okay, now you have to write a thesis, an academical thesis with a lot of sources, etc." So one of them gave me a super good grade, the other one a very bad one. So at the end, I managed to get an okay grade. And a few years ago, I met the second one, so the one who gave me the bad grade, and was happy to explain him that the thesis had actually evolved into a real project, and to explain him where I was, just to give you an example of sometimes you have to be a bit pushy and not trust the people around you and just trust your own instincts. But so at 23, I launched Casidomi not as a supermarket, but as an e-commerce. It was, I think you understood, I was a passionate entrepreneur. I didn't launch it because I found a market potential. I launched it because I wanted to help people to consume more healthily. And the good thing was that there were 2 problems in the society. There are much more problems than 2 in the society, unfortunately, but there were 2 problems that my company was answering to. The first one was the fact that nowadays we consume products that are ultra transformed and that are posing a lot of problems for the health. So we can see an increase of obesity, of diabetes, of chronic diseases. And the second problem is that the food consumption, the CO2 emission of food consumption is increasing. And you know that for the environment, today we really have to decrease the carbon emission. So we have those 2 problems. We have a solution to them, proposing healthy products, but there are problems still on the market. What are those problems? The first one is the fact that today, if you want to consume products that are healthy, that are organic, it's more expensive. It's 20, 30, even sometimes 50% more expensive than normal products. That's the first problem. The second one, it's still complicated to find those products into supermarkets because you have to have this knowledge, you have to know what is healthy, what is not. And the last one is that you have a lot of greenwashing. So now there are a lot of people who find an organic label, for example, on a packaging, and who are like, okay, this product is probably healthy, but it's not because the product is organic that it's healthy, or it's not because the packaging is green, or because it's written 20% less sugar on the packaging that it's healthy. So the customer still has to really make a difference and to check and to understand if the product is healthy or not. That's where Casidomi comes. So today we have selected 4,000 different products on the website, not only foods, but also cosmetics, products to clean the house, because of course what you consume, it has an impact on your health, but what you put in your body also has an impact, what you smell also has an impact, of course. So we have 4,000 products of different categories. All those products are selected based on the composition, and what I have done, what I have implemented in order to make those products more affordable to everyone, because I mentioned one of the problems was really the price of those products, is a business model that is a bit different than what we can find on the market. So it's a membership, so people can buy or not. It's not compulsory, but 90% of our customers, they buy this membership. That gives access to discounts from 20 to 50% on all the different products. And on average, a customer on Casidomi makes 300 euros of savings on the website, which makes actually the organic and the healthy products more accessible, and they cost today the same price as if you buy the products into supermarkets if you are a member. But how do we start? It's a bit complicated. When you are 23, you don't have any expertise in retail, you've never done any logistics, you've not developed any websites, but you have to start somewhere. You have to learn to do it yourself. So the first thing I did was the website. Okay, how am I gonna do this website? So what I did, I was a bit maybe too ambitious. I started taking coding classes, not at university because I wasn't a coding university, so I started taking coding classes. And very quickly, after 2 or 3 lessons, it was like, oh my God, Emna, this is gonna take so much time. And I started having a conversation with my coding teacher, who told me, but actually, Emna, you don't have to code your website yourself. Oh wow, that's a great news. I don't have to code my website myself. There are a lot of different alternatives. There are a lot of alternatives like Odoo, for example, is one of them, Shopify, PrestaShop, platforms that anyone can use. You don't have to be a developer, and you can upload your products, you can pay on the website, you can even design yourself. The design was a bit more complicated for me. I did it on PowerPoint at first because I didn't have any design experience. So I was making the design on PowerPoint and giving them to a developer who was implementing the small little changes that I had to make on the website. No, we have designers for that, and PowerPoint is definitely not the best platform to design a website. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of money, of course. I was just graduated from school. So the website was done. I had to choose the right technology. I knew how to work with it. And then I had to find the products, of course. So it was funny because the products, I was like, oh my God, it's like in any supermarket you have, when you launch a company that is selling healthy or organic products, there are brands that you have to have. I'm going to give you a bad example, but no, Carrefour, if they want to open a new Carrefour, let's say in Brussels, they have to make sure they have Coca-Cola or Nutella, because those are brands that are selling super well, and if they don't have them, people are going to go somewhere else, or people who are not consuming healthy products are going to go somewhere else. So it's the same in the organic sector. There are brands that I really had to add on the website. And for that, I had to work with distributors. I had to make sure they were willing to work with me, so I was super stressed. The first time I had a meeting with a distributor, I remember I was dressing a bit fancy. I had a PowerPoint. I prepared the pitch for a few days. I didn't sleep at all the day before. And then I arrived at the supplier, and I was like, okay, I really need to go out of this meeting with a yes, and being able to distribute the products after. And lucky for me, it wasn't at all like I imagined. Actually, the supplier, he really wanted to sell to me. Of course, actually he wanted to make money, and I was the customer actually. So this part was super easy, and the stress was for nothing on my side, because I had a yes directly from the supplier. I even didn't have to present my PowerPoint and my pitch. So that was done also for the first products that I wanted to add on the website. And then I had to find a warehouse. Finding a warehouse is not something very easy. You have to first make a choice. Do you do it yourself or do you outsource it? You see a picture in 2016 over there. I only had interns, and it was the first employee I hired after a few months. And I decided to make the choice to outsource it at first because we weren't a lot. We were just two people, so I didn't have a lot of time. If I had to prepare the boxes myself, this time I wouldn't have put on developing the business, on adding the right products, on finding the right partners, etc. So I decided to outsource it. And 1 year after we were too big to stay in this external logistic company, and we had to move and take another decision. Do we continue to outsource, or do we do it ourselves? We did it ourselves. We moved 5 times from one warehouse to another because every time we were too big, and it was a bit complicated because you never know. You don't know the numbers of boxes you're going to ship the year after. You don't want to take a warehouse that is too big because otherwise you're going to pay the rent that you don't use. So we moved 5 times. I can guarantee that moving from one warehouse to another when you have 4,000 products times, I don't know how many numbers, but it was a lot. It was super tiring, a lot of work, a lot of IT changes all the time, etc. And last year we decided to externalize it again and to focus again on our core business, which is the e-commerce. I know we're working with a company that does all automatically, so there are robots that are picking the different products, etc. So it's totally new. Orders are done much faster. There are less mistakes, of course, when you automate. There are still people, of course, I reassure you, because you have to make sure people are there to control everything, to make the machines and the robots working. But yeah, there were a lot of changes. We had to adapt from from day 1 to day 2, etc. Today, because it's a question I'll maybe have, and I often have, what would I do? Would I do external logistics from the start and continue? I think yes, because for many years I had a lot of different jobs actually. I had to be at the same time a digital marketer, at the same time a retailer, and at the same time a logistician. And you cannot perform in 3 different jobs super well. It's just impossible. And there are companies who just specialize into logistics. They do it much better than you. So we decided to take this decision, and tomorrow, if I have to launch another e-commerce, I'll definitely go for the external solution. But everyone can choose, and there are great companies who decided to internalize it and they do it well. But we decided to really be able to focus on the business. So I didn't mention the financials, the HR aspects, etc. Because of course, when you launch a company, you have to legally build your company. You have to financially find bankers and stuff like that. But that's for all companies. I really wanted to focus here on the e-commerce. So those are specific stuff to the e-commerce. So finding a website, finding the products, and then finding the warehouse. Once that was done, we started having great sales, and we started being able to analyze the data. And we started being able to know which products were selling well or not. And in 2019, we decided to develop the Casidomi brand, so our own label, products with the Casidomi label on it. I mentioned at first, what did we decide to do? We decided to work with distributors. The easy stuff with distributors is that they're selling many different brands. You have one point of contact. It's super easy to manage. But the problem is that in the supply chain, you have many actors. You have the producer, and then you have a supplier. You sometimes even have a brand, and then you have a distributor. And so everyone has to take his margin, of course, because everyone wants to be paid. And the problem is at the end, the margin that Casidomi takes is low, and the price for the customers is also high. So what we decided to do is that for the best-selling items, we decided to work directly with the supplier, or with the producer, sorry. And that allowed us to first, of course, have access to better price and price better for the customers, which was one of our mission, make healthy products accessible to anyone. And secondly, when you work with a producer, you can also decide about the recipe. So you can say, okay, in these products, let's remove totally the sugar, or let's remove the salt, or let's make sure there is no additives, which you cannot do if the brand already exists. You just add the products and you sell you sell the products. And so we started with coconut products. The best-selling item on Quasi-Demi was coconut milk. So in 19, what I did is that I checked a bit the different supplier of coconut milk, and you can guess there are no coconut tree in Europe, so I had to go to Sri Lanka to find a producer of coconut milk. I found one that was super nice. It was certified organic, which was important for us. So I came back to Brussels. We ordered the products. It was coconut milk, coconut oil, and different products with coconuts. That we got shipped. And then the AFSCA came in the warehouse. The AFSCA, for those who aren't living in Belgium, the AFSCA is the organization that controls the food sector and that makes sure that everything is secure and safe in the food sector in Belgium. So the AFSCA came and they were like, there is an organic label on your products, but you are not organic certified. And I was like, but the products are organic, the producer is organic. Why do we have to be organic certified? Oh, that's the law. And I was like, okay, oh my God, how am I going to do it? I have all those products. Do I have to stop selling them? Do I have to put new stickers again on all those products? But there were thousands of coconut milk in the warehouse. That was just an impossible job. So we managed at the end to find a solution. We got the organic certification a few weeks after, and we were able to sell those organic products again. But that's just an example to illustrate the fact that when you launch a company, there are tons of things you don't know, there are tons of mistakes you'll do, and you'll manage to find solutions. That's an example amongst tens of thousands of examples I've lived in the last years. And yeah, you have solutions. That's a bit the life of an entrepreneur at the end, is to find solutions to problems that occur all the time. So today we have 200 different references. It's 4%, so we have 4,000 different products. So 4% of the catalog is the own brand. So we still sell many other brands, but it's 30% of the sales. So that's again to illustrate the fact that the data are super important, because we didn't decide about the products we developed with the own brand for nothing. We decided because we knew, based on the data, that they were selling well. Of course, today they are all organic certified, and Quasi-Demi is also organic certified. And to make sure everyone can buy them, we made the whole range of products vegetarian. We experienced high growth since the beginning until 22. High growth means you can easily find investors. So money was there. It was just coming. And we had investors all the time knocking at the door, saying, Emna, do you need some money? I'd like to invest. I have some money to place. The bankers was also following, etc. And then COVID came. It was a great period for us because, of course, everyone wanted to consume more healthy. Everyone wanted to buy online and didn't want to go to supermarkets. So again, the growth in 21 was amazing. And then 22 arrived, and that was a nightmare. Because of what? Because COVID stopped. It wasn't a nightmare, of course, that COVID stopped, but for us, there was definitely a change in customers' habits. And we saw a decrease in the consumption of e-commerce products. That was the first thing. There was a war in Ukraine that definitely had an impact on us. And then there was a drop of sales in the whole organic sector. And we were like, oh my God, we had a huge, a very nice growth for the last years without really doing something very, very special, without having to spend tons of money on the marketing and stuff like that, because there was a customer traction. But no, the trends are not on our side anymore, and we need to find solution. And when you start stopping growing, it's getting complicated, and you start seeing the problems of your business. So we really focused on what were the different levers where we had to improve stuff. Like, for example, the operations. We had to find ways to decrease the cost because it was just too expensive. We had bought the most expensive tools to work with. While we didn't really need those expensive tools, we could definitely do some stuff ourselves. So when you have money and when you continue growing, you're a bit like, okay, let's spend money. We spend on marketing, we hire a lot, and you don't really think deeply at any decision, while actually you should. So it was a super important learning for us. And so at the end of 22, we were really like, okay, we cannot continue this way. We need to focus first on the cost and to make the business more efficient. And we need to find ways, different ways, to continue growing. Why? Because, as I mentioned, the e-commerce was just stagnating, so we needed to find other ways to grow. What we did is that first, we decided to go offline. So we found partners, retail partners. Deleuze was one of them in Belgium, to distribute the own brand of Quasi-Demi. That was a great lever of growth, which allowed us not only to do marketing, because there are thousands of people who are entering every Deleuze every day, so it was a marketing campaign. People were seeing the products all the day, but it was also for us a great way to increase the sales. So that was the first thing we did to improve the growth again. And the second one was that we acquired another company called Bébé au Naturel, which is a website, French website that has the same values as Quasi-Demi, because they sell natural and healthy products, but for baby. So with a positioning really focused on baby. And we were able actually to buy this website, partly because the market wasn't going well and there were a lot of great opportunities for us. So the cost of acquiring this company was much more affordable than if we had to buy the company a few years ago when the whole sector was really booming. So we acquired this company, and at the same time it allowed us to increase the sales again in 2023, but it also allowed us to reduce the cost. Why? Because when you have two e-commerces, you were able to make a lot of synergies. For example, we work with a Belgian post called Bpost. We work also with Chronopost in France and many other transport actors or players. And we were able to go to them and to tell them, okay, actually, we're going to double the volumes. We're going to double the amount of parcels that we ship every year. So what is the price that you can propose? So we were then able to decrease the price to pay for each parcel to the transporter or to the shipping companies. And that's just an example to illustrate one synergy, but we were able to do HR synergy, we were able to do synergy on the products, because some products are common to the two websites. In terms of IT, we use the same technology today, so again, we can decrease the cost just based on the impact it has on the volumes we're making. So today, fortunately, things are going much better, and the graph is not going down anymore, and we managed in 23 and 24 to find again great levers of growth. So we're making healthy products accessible to everyone today more than ever. One thing that is super important for us is the customer. From day one, I've never stopped listening to customers, and it's customer satisfaction is for me the main KPI. The day your customer satisfaction goes down, you have a problem with your business, and you're sure that you will decrease, because your sales will decrease, because your customers are so important, and they're also the best ambassadors. So if they are happy about your service, they will continue, of course, buying on the website. Everything seems to be probably a bit nice, and maybe some of you are like, wow, it's great what Emna achieved during those last years. She was young. If you read newspapers and the press, you're like, wow, that's nice. Entrepreneurship seems to be great. It seems easy, but I can guarantee that it's not. And I wanted to share with you a few of my learnings, because there are a lot of learnings. I'm going to share with you 5 of my learnings, but there's so much more, and I continue to learn every day. And that's probably one of the things that enthusiasms me the most into my journey, is that when you're an entrepreneur, you never stop learning. One of the key points that I learned is that the why is the key. When you launch a business, you need to know why you're launching it. For us, the why was super clear. We wanted to make healthy products more affordable. I wanted to have an impact. I wanted to do it at scale. We became B Corp certified a few years ago. We were the 8th Belgian B Corp. So that was super great. We've always made sure to reduce as much as possible the carbon emission. We've always made sure to have a great impact on the health of our customers, and that's really the core of the business. And that's not only important for us or for me as a passionate entrepreneur. That's also important for your teams, because today the people in the team, they're not only there because they like to do digital marketing, they're there because every day they wake up and they're like, okay, I'm going to help people to consume better, I'm going to have an impact myself. Your partners is the same, or our investors it's the same. They're like, okay, I support not only entrepreneurs or a project, I hope one day I'll make money of it, I'm also supporting something that is great for the society. So the why is key. Lesson 2, managing people is hard. I can guarantee when I was 23 and I launched my company, I thought I would be an entrepreneur. I never thought I would be one day a manager. And today I'm not only an entrepreneur, I'm also a manager, and I can even say that I'm 80% manager and 20% an entrepreneur. That's something you can choose. I could have chosen not to be the manager and just to be the entrepreneur and to be the creative one on the side, but I choose to lead my business and to also be the CEO of my company. But that's a choice you have to make. That's a choice that is not easy, because managing people is complicated. Everyone is different. There is no single person in this room that is the same, that has the same habits, that has the same motivation every day. So for you, I'll probably have to be one type of manager one day, maybe another one tomorrow, and for you a different one. So managing people is complicated. People are not robots. It's not like a computer you put on or off and you decide. No, sometimes you really have to adapt. People are motivated one day, less motivated the other day. Sometimes what people need is recognition. Sometimes other people need evolution, and sometimes you cannot give everything to everyone. So sometimes it's really complicated. And today I'd say that my team is probably the thing that gives me the most energy with the customers, but it's also something that takes me, one of the things that takes me the most energy. Why? Because it's something you always have to take care of all the problems and the thing, and you have to extinct fires all the day. And the bigger the team, of course, the bigger the problems you have to manage. The fact that we decided to close the warehouse and to outsource it again a few years ago was actually kind of a release, because I had like 40 people I didn't have to manage anymore. And managing workers and employees it's a very different type of management. Workers, you have to be on the ground, you have to be there. People are not motivated because of the why of the company most of the time. I'm not saying it's the case all the time, but people are very often just there because they need a job, which is very different from the people that you have in the office. So it's a different type of management, and I realize I prefer to be the one that is motivating the team because of what we were doing with Casidomi, than just because I was giving the money to some people. So managing people is hard. Lesson 3, women rock. Very often people are asking me, Emna, isn't it tough to be a woman entrepreneur? And I'm like, no, it's not tough to be a woman entrepreneur. It's tough and it's complicated to be an entrepreneur. Just that's it, not a woman entrepreneur. I can even say that it has been actually a force for me, a strength to be a woman. Why? Because there are not enough women, because journalists are looking to speak about women, because investors or VC, they have to now invest into female companies, female funded companies. So it can actually be an advantage. And in 8 years, because I've launched Casidomi 8 years ago, in 8 years it has never been for me a weakness to be a woman, and never I had someone in front of me saying, no, I'm not going to invest, or I'm not going to do business with you because you're a woman. It's the opposite. So if there are women in this room who are willing to do entrepreneurship, who are willing to build a company one day, don't take the fact that you're a woman as an excuse to not do it. I think everyone could do it. You just have to keep in mind that it's actually the lesson 4. It's being an entrepreneur that is hard. And being an entrepreneur, as I mentioned, it's not only, having his company is not only about being happy all the time, seeing the great numbers, being in the press, etc. No, actually it's more about dealing with problems, extinct fire, as I mentioned, dealing with challenges, it's ups and downs all the time. Yesterday I had one of our suppliers who was going bankrupt, but we paid thousands of euros to him, so how do you manage that? 2 weeks ago I had an employee who was letting me know that she was leaving while she's essentially in the company, so I had to deal with that. 1 year ago I had a problem, an IT problem, and I had to find a new way to migrate our website because the last one was posing problems. 1 year and a half ago, when we moved to one warehouse to another, it was a mess because we changed the whole IT stuff. Customers were not getting the right parcel, etc. And just that, those are just 4 examples. But there is no. I'm often saying that there is no single day where I arrive at the office with a to-do, and at the end of the day, I have done my to-do. That never happens. Why? Because there are always new tasks, new projects, new challenges, and things you didn't expect. But it's not because it's hard that it's not fun at all. On the opposite, I have a lot of fun. I spend super great moments with my team. It's super cool to have the possibility to create value, so don't think about only the fact that, yeah, being an entrepreneur is hard. It's also a lot of fun, and the fun actually compensates for the hardness of having his own or her own business. And lesson 4, choose the right partners. I have decided to launch my company with my husband. He wasn't my husband at the time, but I was already with him since a few years when we launched the company. And I think I choose the right husband, that's not a question, but I think I choose the right partner for Casidomi as well. And I'm always impressed by people who are alone and launching a company alone. Why? Because it's so cool to have someone who understands what you're living. As I mentioned, sometimes it's super hard, and sometimes you really want to have someone in front of you who understands what you've lived, who understands why you had a day that was complicated, and the opposite is also true with great moments. Alain is my co-founder. When I have good news, it's the person with whom I really want to celebrate. It's the person with whom I know we push the effort so hard that, yeah, we know that we can get a reward for that. So it's really the person at the same time who understands when I'm going down and who understands when I'm going up, and with whom I want to celebrate. It's also the person with whom I know that I can get the right advices. I'm challenged by someone on a day-to-day basis. Of course, sometimes I have my managers who are challenging me, but it's not the same as when you have your co-founder coming to you and explaining you that you can do things differently. We're also very complementary. We have the same background. We have both a business background, but we are very different in our way of managing things. So it's very interesting also to have someone who can evaluate, who can give you feedback with a view that is a bit different from you. So my advice here would be choose the right partners. Having a co-founder is not something that is compulsory. For me, that definitely helps, and I'm not sure one day if I relaunch a company, I'll do it alone, because I love being with someone with whom I can share the journey. But if you don't have a co-founder, it's important to find partners that can help. It can be investors, it can be mentors, it can be family, friends, people who understand your business and who you can share stuff with. So that's it. As I mentioned, there are much more lessons. I wanted to share 5 with you. I hope you've learned things today, and I was very happy to share with you a few moments of my journey. I think you can ask questions, but I think there is a way to ask your question. I'm just going to check. Ah oui, ok.
To the questions. First of all, thank you a lot, Emna, for this inspiring talk. Then let's go for the first question. What sets women entrepreneurs apart is also pregnancy. First of all, congrats.
Can I maybe read it? Yeah.
How are you going to deal with this in the future?
Okay, can I have
Yeah,
the
sure.
phone? Can you, yeah, you can still hear me. So the first question is, what sets women entrepreneurs apart is also pregnancy. First of all, congrats, thank you. How are you going to deal with it in the future? I don't know. The answer is simple. I have no clue. I've never been pregnant. I've never had any children before. But what I know is that I'm used to deal with challenges, and I see having a child as a new challenge, a big one, of course, probably the biggest one of my life. And I'll hope I'll find ways to deal with it as I found ways to deal with the other challenges in my life. But yeah, I'll be better probably able to answer this question in 3 to 4 months. Second question, I am a client of Casidomi myself, so first of all, congrats with what you've achieved. I really love it. Thank you. And congrats with the baby coming. How did you find your first customers? How did you find your startup in the beginning? So first question, how did I find the first customer? It was funny, but funny and not funny, but when I launched the company, I really didn't have any money. I had like €5 in my pocket. I was a student. Building a company legally in Belgium, it costs already €1,500. So I put my pocket money into building the company legally, and then I had still a few €1,000 to buy the products. But yeah, of course, that doesn't let you with a lot of money to acquire customers. So what I did is that I started working with influencers, and I was sending products to influencers, and they were getting a commission based on the amount of membership that they were selling. For me, it was the most amazing way to do marketing. Why? Because it was 100% performance-based. So I was paying influencers only if they were bringing customers. So that was for the first 2 years, actually, probably almost the only way I was doing marketing. 80% of the acquisition was through influencers, and then the rest, of course, is a bit of awareness, of press, etc. But yeah, finding influencers as the right influencers, people who are ambassadors of your business, was probably the thing that really helped me the most. And how did I find my startup in the beginning? I went first to a bank. Of course, I got a no. Why? Because banks, they don't want to fund startups. They don't want to fund companies that are not making revenues or profits yet. They don't want to fund. They don't want to be the ones who take the risk. They prefer to let investors take the first risk. So I went to investors. I went to actually my family. I was lucky because I had an entrepreneur in my family who was able to help me a bit and to invest a bit into Casidomi. And if you have the possibility to go to friends or family, it's definitely the first way or the first thing you should look at before going to professional investors, etc. Because the fact that I went to my uncle is that I had someone who was there with me. He invested, of course, and wanted to make money, but he was also someone who understood who I was, who was empathetic, because he was also an entrepreneur, and that's something important. Today we have investors that are amazing, but some of them are entrepreneurs, others are not. And you can see the difference between someone who's an entrepreneur and someone who's not. The entrepreneurs, they know that there are tough moments. The others, I'm not saying that they don't know, but yeah, it's different because they haven't lived it. So the first founder of the company was someone from my family. Third question. First, your speech is amazing. Is all your system based on Odoo? If yes, can you give us how the payment was handled and what are the challenges there? I'm going to be 100% honest here. We work with Odoo, but only for the accounting part. So the whole website, we've done it ourselves, so it's 100% custom, but Odoo is the tool that is managing the whole accounting stuff. We have different companies, so we use Odoo for the different companies, and we're very happy, and I'm not paid to say that, so we're very happy about the system. I wouldn't, I think, redo what I've done, so I wouldn't go for a full customized system, because an e-commerce is an e-commerce, and today you have platforms like Odoo who are managing everything. They won't be 100% like you want, but you will save so much money, because developing a website, especially if it's custom, it costs you really. I don't want to put a number on it, because yeah, it's so big. So definitely use a platform for that. No question, this was one of the most inspiring classes so far. Thank you so much. Thank you. When you decide to outsource your stock management, how did you deal with firing your 40 employees? I said that there are tough moments. This moment was probably the more difficult for me. I didn't launch a company to fire people. I launched a company because I wanted to have an impact. I wanted to create stuff. Firing people is so complicated. And yeah, it was really for a few weeks for Alain and myself, so my associate and myself, it was really a complicated moment. It's there are no best way to do it. We try to help people to find jobs after. We try to give guarantee to some of them. We try to hire some of them after into other jobs. So we did our best, but at some point, as I mentioned, we were facing a decrease of sales. We had to find solution to work and to reduce the cost. So that was not an option for us. So that was something we had to do. As an entrepreneur, you have to take hard decision. And as I said, it was very complicated. Today we managed to make the company profitable, which is great. But with the logistics that we manage ourselves, that was just not possible. So the equation was just not working. So it wasn't a choice we were obligated to make, but not an easy one, of course. Our biggest mistake in your Casidomi journey and how you rectify? That's complicated, because there is no only one mistake. There are thousands of mistakes we've made. The biggest one, I think we've made a lot of IT mistakes that cost, as I mentioned, a lot of money. But we didn't do mistakes that really cost us almost the life of the company. I think so far we didn't make a job that was too bad, so we're happy. But yeah, IT-wise, I'd say we could have spared a lot of time. We could have saved a lot of money. So I'd say if you launch an e-commerce, definitely pay a lot of attention and take time to take the right decision, because developing a website can really cost a lot of money and takes really a lot of time to develop. Also, and the time you'll spend on developing a website is time you don't spend on other stuff. Can we pay with meal voucher on the e-commerce? Yes, the answer is yes. I think you can pay with Edenred, with Sodexo, any methods in Belgium. Do you sell fresh products? No, we don't sell fresh products. That's maybe one of the mistakes we've made. So of course we had customers asking if it was possible to add fresh products. So we added fresh products. And actually managing fresh products is super complicated. Why? Because it's perishable, while the food products that we had in the warehouse, they're only dry, so the consumption dates are months or even sometimes years later, while fresh products, you have a few days to sell them. The transport is super expensive. It's super expensive because you have to make sure there are fridge in the trucks that are delivering the packets. So it's impossible. It was impossible for us to make money. And when you look at the e-commerces that are selling fresh products today in Belgium, I don't know any of them who's profitable. And as I mentioned, we had to, at some point of the company, at some point of the journey, we had to make choices that were making the company profitable. So we had to decide about stopping selling fresh products. We did it. We saw that it was great. People were happy about it, but just impossible to make money on it, and at the same time very complicated to not have garbage. I launched the company because I wanted to have a healthy impact on the life of customers, but also because I wanted to have a great impact on the environment. And throwing away fresh products was something that was just destroying us. Was not ourselves, and we were like, okay, let's keep that for let's give that to supermarkets or to markets that are doing it better, and let's focus on what we do well, as shipping dry products, and that's it. What is your marketing strategy right now? How do you go through the hard times without quitting? There are a lot of questions in this question. So marketing strategy right now, it's not only focused on influencers like at the very beginning. Why? Because influencers 6 or 7 years ago, it was easy. Nobody was doing influencer marketing. So influencer, we could just give commission. That was okay. Today, many big influencers, they want to be paid 2,000 euros for a story. So that's again not a profitable way to do marketing, because often when you pay 2,000 euros, you don't get back your investment. So we still do influencer marketing, but with small influencers. We do ads on Facebook and on Google, and that's a must. I would love to not have to spend money on Google and Facebook, but we have to today. We still do a lot of social media, so we are on Facebook, on Instagram. We did a bit of TikTok, but that wasn't working that well. So we also do a lot of community management, as we say. What we haven't done a lot, because it's still very expensive, is physical marketing. So the old ways to do marketing, let's say, so marketing in the streets, on boards or television and stuff like that, because it's very, very expensive. So that we haven't done so far. How do you go through the hard times without quitting? That's a good question. I often say I don't really have a lot of other option. I have investors behind the company. I have a team, and even if it's hard, and I've never doubted about quitting the company. I know that the company needs me, and even it's hard, it's also so cool. There are moments that are amazing, and as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, the fun moments, they actually compensate much more for the hard times. But of course, there are moments where like, whoa, it's tough. I'd love to not have any pressure. I'd love to be able to go on holidays for a week and not have to open my phone, my computer. I'd love to have 1 week where there are no problems, but yeah, that just doesn't happen. And I think I've just signed for another life that is the entrepreneurial one, and I have to accept that it's not always pink. What would you do differently if you could change something? IT I mentioned. I think what else would I do differently? I think HR. I've probably hired too many people too fast at some points. And it's very important to make sure about the people you're hiring. It's also very important to take time for every person in the company to make sure your culture is maintained. Because the bigger the company, the hardest it is to maintain your culture, because you're not in touch with everyone. You start having a middle management and stuff like that. So what I've realized is that I'm not, I think, someone who'll be one day willing to have a company with thousands of employees. What I love is have also time to create myself stuff. What I love is the entrepreneurial aspect. I love my team, but I also love the human contact I have with them. And having a team today of we're 50, I think, is I think a great number, because I'm able to discuss with everyone. I have a contact with everyone. The people we have in the team today I think they're the best. We're super happy about them. And the culture is very strong. Everyone is aligned. Everyone stay true to the mission. Everyone is motivated. But at some point during COVID, we were 80 or 90, and I wasn't able actually to be there for everyone. I wasn't able to hire myself, etc. And I think it's important to know what you want when you're an entrepreneur. It's important to know what kind of entrepreneur do you want to be? Do you want to stay an entrepreneur? Do you want to be a manager? And even if you want to be a manager, do you want to be a manager of a small team or of a big team? And I know that today I'm happy where I am, and I don't want to be the one who... and I don't think I'm the best person also to have a huge company like Odoo, for example. Fabien is great. What's your husband's role in the business? A good question. So we are both equal in the company. That means that the big decision, we take them together. It's not like I'm the boss of Alain or Alain is my boss. No, we are both together in the company. We have the same shares. But what we did is that we split the roles. So that's very important first for yourself, because otherwise you'll have double work. And the second point is that your team, they won't know to whom they have to ask what. So at some point when Alain joined me, because he didn't directly join me, he worked a bit before and then joined me 2 years after the beginning. When he joined me, we didn't make this work of splitting the roles, and we were both doing the marketing, for example. And people in the marketing team, they were asking me, okay, can I spend this budget? I was like, okay. And Alain was like, not okay. And then they were like, whoa, what do we need to do? So it's very important for your team to know who is responsible of what, who takes the decision for what, and also to split the role. So today, Alain is more in charge of making sure everything is working, operations, finance, HR, and I'm the one who's there to, I'd say, who's there for the customers. So I'm the one who manage the marketing, the strategy of the company, the customer support. I'm the one who's really trying first to take care of our customers and also to make sure we continue growing and find new customers. How many employees do you currently have? I have answered 50. Which platform do you use? I've answered as well. What about brand identity strategy? I think one of the easy thing with Quasi-Demi was that we had a why that 5 minutes. Perfect. Thank you. We had a why that was very strong, and it's much easier to have a strong brand identity when you have a why that is very clear. We wanted to make healthy products, so the whole communication of Quasi-Demi is about being healthy, taking care of yourself, making the right consumption choice. So we worked a lot on that communication-wise. One thing on which we worked also is the branding. The branding is very important. As I mentioned, I started making the first designs myself on a PowerPoint, but after a few years, we decided to work with an agency to make the brand more recognizable. Today, the K of Quasi-Demi, I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's there on the present. It's not there anymore, but it was there before. The K of Quasi-Demi, there are many people who see the K and they're like, okay, this is Quasi-Demi. So for that, we at some point decided to work with an agency who really helped us to make the brand recognizable, to make the product also recognizable. For us, it's important. We also have our own label. It's important to make it appealing. There is one thing that is complicated about organic and healthy products is that it's not yet seen as sexy. Very often the organic brands, you're like, it seems a bit old, that it doesn't look attractive, and we wanted to destroy this cliche. We wanted to make sure people wanted to buy the products. We want to make sure people were like, wow, this is a brand that looks cool. So we worked on that to make sure this barrier was destroyed. What else? Congrats for your accomplishment. I am a fan and consumer and future baby. What is the growth strategy for the selling of your products in supermarkets like Deleuze? The growth strategy for selling the products in supermarkets, it has really become one of the key aspects of the strategy. So Deleuze is our first partner on the Belgian ground, but we're already in discussion with Carrefour in Italy, for example, with Monoprix in France. So there are many different players that are willing to add the Casidomi brand into the stores. And we think that it's a good, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, it's a good lever of growth. So it's going to be something new. As in January, we also do B2B. Before it was only selling online, only B2C. And since a few months, we've established a B2B strategy. We've now started hiring people to focus on the sales. It's a totally different approach, but we clearly see that it's helping the brand to grow and to become more famous. Is it a plan to also put meat and fresh products on the market? I have answered. Not at the moment, not until we find a way to make it profitably. There is a job that could be done to make sure the user experience easier, not to go to different shops for groceries, I agree, but we've not yet found a way to do it. I really hope I think if the shipping methods evolve towards something that is cheaper, it's definitely going to make us makes it more easy to ship fresh products. But at the moment, yeah, there are not yet methods that are actually that are making actually to be profitable. No question. Congrats for this amazing, inspiring pitch. I love ordering on Casidomi. Continue the hard work. That's super cool. I'm happy to have customers in the room. What have helped what have helped you most scaling your business? I'd say different things. I think customers. We were super lucky, but with the business model of Casidomi, that really allowed us to build a community. We have customers that are members, that are people not only coming on our website just to buy once. We are people coming on our website very, very often, every month. So we can have a great link with the customers, and we also, I think, managed to make our customer became our ambassadors. So the referral is one of the big. Also, I didn't mention it earlier, but the referral is one of the big marketing channel as well. So that's one of the thing. Money, of course, we raise money. Money helped us to grow because it helps us to extend the product catalog. It helped us to hire people to do a great job on the company. It also helped us to make marketing. So definitely having money helped us to become bigger. And at the same time, I mentioned those levers, but at the same time, I think what we did the best is that we managed to find a great product market fit. And you can have whatever money you want. If you have a product that nobody wants, it's never going to work. You can spend tons of money on it. People are not going to buy on your website. So we managed to find the needs in the society and to fill it. And that's definitely one of the great points, and that really allowed us to be where we are today. And I think that's going to be the last, I promise. What's next? Future projects. I think you've understand that we love projects. I love being an entrepreneur. I love create things. Developing new features, developing new projects is what we're passionate about, Alain and myself. One of the big projects on which we are currently working is launching a new company. You'll probably see it in the coming weeks. It's called Pulse. It's a company that is selling proteins products. So proteins for everyone. We want to destroy the cliche of you have to be a man and you have to do bodybuilding to consume proteins. The goal is to make people understand that everyone has to consume proteins, and that really helps you to grow better, that helps your muscles, that helps a lot of things in your body. And so we're going to launch a brand with products of the consumption of day to day. The Tesla is not working super well. So we're going to launch this project at the end of the month. So definitely go online, check the products, give us your feedback. And then on Casidomi, of course, you've understood B2B is one of the key things on which we will work, and where we see a great enthusiasm and a lot of traction. And we will continue to do our best to maintain customer satisfaction on Casidomi by making sure the experience is the best, by making sure the products that are proposed are the best. So we're gonna continue developing the own brands and so much more. So that's it. I hope I wasn't too long. There are not many people left in the room, but I was super happy to share all of that with you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.